Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to HMP. I hope you're a big fan of Morrissey and, well, me, because this week I'm all by myself to review David Fincher's latest movie on Netflix, The Killer. I'm your host, Adam Porters, and I'm the only one here today. So we had this is a very interesting week altogether. Sean decided that he needed a vacation with his lady. Can you believe it? Years together and they've never been on a vacation, so they finally decided to go, which is nice. Here's what you guys don't know. It's a private beach, mostly because no one wants to see Sean without a shirt on. Woo! Talk about white. See, when they're not here, I can talk as much crap about them as I want to, and there's not a whole lot they can do about it. So Sean is out, and then Bruce and I we talked about doing The Killer last week, and if you listen to the show, that's what you heard us mention, and we're going to be covering that this week. But that changed midweek, and we were going to do Echo, and then all of a sudden Sean was like, "Oh yeah, that's right, I'm going on vacation, whoops-a-doodle." And then, wouldn't you know it, our own Bruce Leslie caught COVID. Man, the hits keep on coming. So I figured, instead of me trying to review 5 episodes of a television show and being the only person to talk about it, I figured we'd kind of give you like an old school kind of film find sort of thing from way back in the day, where it's just Adam yapping about a movie. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be talking The Killer from 2023. It is on Netflix. It's the latest one from David Fincher. Fincher doing a lot of Netflix stuff over the last couple of years and whatnot. Obviously, Mank was just before this, and he did a lot with the Mindhunter. Mindhunter? Is it Mindhunter? I think, isn't it? Yeah. The great Netflix show that he had there with Anna Torov. That's how I pronounce her name. Anyways, great show there. For whatever reason, didn't get a 3rd season. Thought that was strange and stupid, but they're still in the David Fincher game over there at Netflix, so we're going to see if The Killer pans out for all that. But before we do want to say a giant thank you to the people who support this show over at patreon.com/HMP. Those people get awesome pre-show, post-show, Dinger Zone. What's on the Dinger Zone this week? I don't know. I haven't recorded it yet. There's no one else to talk to, and I got to figure something out. So sometime during this show, I'm going to figure out some words. We're going to put them in my head, and then we're going to put them on the internet. And the people that support us over at patreon.com/HMP are going to be the ones that pick that up, put it in their ear holes, and, well, we'll say hopefully enrich their lives a little bit. And again, hopefully, if you like Adam, if you're an Adam guy, this is the show for you. But if you hate just me, boy oh boy, have you turned out already. But that's fine. But yeah, so I'm going to be covering The Killer this week, and then we'll cover Echo next week. So we hope Bruce gets better, and we hope Sean is having a lovely time over in the whatever tropical area he's in and stuff. Hunt him down if you see a gray-haired mustachioed man flexing his muscles on the beach there and everything. Track him down. That might be Sweet Chauncey. You never know. So like I said, patreon.com/HMP. And if you can't do that, jump over there to the iTunes, man. Give us a 5-star review, a.k.a. Humdinger. It's been a minute, so we'd hope you guys would do that. But if you can't, maybe you might just want to write us an email or something, because look at this.
Bale's here.
I'll tell you this much. I enjoy the fact that we've got a letter this week. It helps pad out the show a little bit. There's less banter because it's just me yapping and everything. So it's nice to have a letter to kind of break up the monotony of the me a little bit here. And you get to hear another voice on the show. This one comes to us from Marty. And Marty writes, "Hey guys, just wanted to say happy 500th episode. I kind of feel like you're pretty humble, a lot like the Lonely Island, about this massive achievement. Thanks for all you guys do each week. Apart from Sean, who's been coasting on an Easy Stallone connection every week." And then that was followed by the winky tongue out emoji. I don't know what we call that. There needs to be a shorter term for that. Marty continues. "I love the way the show is evolving and really love the pre-show, post-show, as it is a good look behind the curtain as well as Patreon votes." I tell you what, old Marty's writing my copy here for me. It's lovely. It's been great to be along with you for the last 8 years, although I'm still waiting for my H&P goodie bag Adam promised me in 2016. Shoot me back to this exact email. write your give me your address. It's going to cost $8 gajillion to send it over to the UK, but we'll do it. He said, "You've kept me sane when my life was mostly spent on the road." A couple things before I go, as I'm way older than you guys. I don't know if you're way older than Bruce and Sean. Sean, please try to interject more Adidas / general footwear into the show. I missed the days, and I also want to see that Captain Pike cosplay. Adam, you are a legend. As a wannabe anarchist / punk myself, keep up the good work, sir, and please keep the good fight, fighting for audiophiles everywhere. Thank you. Bruce, you're way too hard on yourself, my friend. Your creativity and content is off the charts. Seeing your work / love / care you give HMP and your family and us and the humble listeners is inspirational. Check out my upcoming YouTube series, Anime Dad UK. LOL. Love you guys. 100th episode. Here we come. Your friend Marty. I think he says. I think you missed a zero there, buddy. I think episode 1000. Here we come. That's quite a lot here. And as always, I would like to send an email. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. That's from your friend Marty. I'm going to close up the mailbag. I'm reading next year's script. How about that?
Bale's here.
It's going to be one of those episodes. And as always, if you'd like to send us an email, why don't you do so at heromoviepodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, man. All right, let's get into it, boys and girls. Here's the IMDb plotline for The Killer from 2023. We'll get into that maybe. As we all know, IMDb 100% correct in everything they say and or do. After a fateful near miss, an assassin battles his employers and himself on an international manhunt he insists isn't personal. This is based upon the graphic novel series The Killer by Alexis Matz Nolant, okay, and Luke Jacquemin. Jacquemin. There you go. That's the writer and the illustrator of said comic book. So you didn't even realize. We didn't even realize. I don't even think that we got a comic book movie on our hands here. So that's pretty fun. So the screenplay though was written by Andrew Kevin Walker. Interesting filmography for this guy. He wrote Seven with David Fincher. Very nice, good stuff. 8mm. Oh, that's like Seven but crappy. Sleepy Hollow. Oh, okay, maybe not so much on that one. The Wolfman. You know, the Del Toro one from 2010. You know what? Let's just say he did Seven. This is directed by David Fincher. You know David Fincher, one of the most celebrated directors currently working today. Everything from like we said, Seven, Fight Club, The Game. He doesn't claim Alien 3, but that's a whole other debacle in and of itself. And you know David Fincher. So The Social Network, like I mentioned Mank previously and everything, Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. The guys, like, honestly, that's why I'm really super excited anytime I see a David Fincher movie out, because I know that this is a guy who's making something I've got to watch, you know? Like back when they said, hey, and they just called it the Facebook movie or a movie about Facebook. They had no idea what they were going to call it. But I was just like, wow, a Facebook movie. That sounds like literally the worst idea ever. And then someone goes, no, it's going to be about the founding of Netflix. And you're like, okay, or not Netflix, but Facebook. And you're like, okay, well, maybe. But how can you make that interesting? And then somebody goes, well, it's going to be directed by David Fincher. And you're like, oh, that guy? All right. And it's done by the same guy that, I think it was the same guy that wrote Bringing Down the House, if I'm not mistaken. Same author? I could be wrong. Anyways, but so when David Fincher's involved with something, it gets on my radar immediately. And this is kind of him going, I don't want to say back to, but it felt more Finchery kind of thing, a little, dark, sinister, the dark humor and everything. But let me go ahead. If that wasn't enough, let me sell everybody on this latest offering from David Fincher on Netflix, because this sucker's got everything. We got classic David Fincher crazy opening title sequence, maybe not his best, but it's thematic for him. We've got Michael Fassbender as a lone assassin. Sorry, ladies, despite there being a shower scene in this movie, no giant Fassbender dong to make us all feel inadequate. I'm sure Fincher had to shell out a lot of CGI money to get that python off of that digital film, boy. Whew! We got cold, detached Fincher, dark humor, repeating mantras, the German tourist slander, questionable fashion choices, yoga, a quick game of don't shoot the hooker goes wrong, silencers galore. Speaking of galore, I hope you like the Smiths and Morrissey because we got that in spades. We've got the quietest motorcycle chase in cinema history, Tilda Swinton in the most normal role she's taken in 20 years. Charles Parnell is here. Speaking of which, do you think Charles and Chris Parnell get their mail, each other's mail, or so? That guy's great, though. We got one big action set piece and more fake TV names than you can shake a stick at. A bit of a love letter to Rear Window and John Wick if John Wick was more real and directed by a crazed perfectionist like David Fincher. This movie's got everything. So, I did not really know what to expect with this movie outside of its title, The Killer, its star, Michael Fassbender, and its director, David Fincher. And that my guess is it was about, get this, a killer of some sort. So I really had no idea what to expect going in. And I take that back. I had a little bit in there because when we were discussing that we wanted to review The Killer this week, Sean had mentioned that he had previously saw it and was curious at kind of my thoughts and everything, and that it was supposedly, there was at least a decent amount of kind of dark humor and stuff in there, as has been the case in many Fincher stuff. And let's kind of rewind the clock a little bit before I get into the film itself, because, like I said, I am a giant Fincher fan. Like I said, he started kind of his propaganda films was his commercial company and everything. It put out just a whole bunch of directors that you've heard of, guys like him and Michael Bay. There's a couple other ones in there I'm forgetting right off the top of my head. But they had this commercial company that they did these great commercials and stuff for, and music videos and whatnot. And so eventually then David Fincher is one of those kind of high-rising stars there and everything. And they get him for Alien 3. And Alien 3 is a giant mess. By the way, if you get a chance, check out the documentary that comes on the Alien quadrilogy set. They've reissued it and they had it on Blu-ray or DVD. I bought it on DVD way back in the day, and then in Blu-ray and stuff like that. So it's pretty readily available. But that 3+ hour documentary on the making of Alien 3 is more interesting than the movie Alien 3. And what they had going on in that flick and the different ideas and the clashing heads, and it's amazing that movie came out at all. So that was David Fincher's introduction into Hollywood, and that was, he didn't get to do what he wanted. and if you know anything about Fincher, he's a guy who likes to get his way. He wants to be very exacting on things. And the reason that he is as good as he is, the reason that I enjoy his work as much as I do, and why I think he's one of the best living filmmakers right now, is that he cares. He cares more than it seems most anybody else does on these things. And while the methods may not always be the most, original or whatever, the results speak for themselves. The guys put out some fantastic work here and everything, but it was that Alien 3 that put him on the course of, I've got to be the one in charge. So as bad as that movie is, and as much of a cluster as that movie is, it is because of Alien 3, I believe, that we have the high-quality David Fincher films that we have today, is because he was like, listen, if I'm going to be involved in this stuff, I'm going to be the guy who is, painting with all the brushstrokes and everything. If you watch a lot of the great David Fincher behind-the-scenes documentaries, which there's a ton of those, which is also really great, at kind of the dawn of DVD and everything, where you had the Fight Club DVD that came out that had an untold, just massive amounts of special features and stuff on it, so you learn a lot about Fincher's process. He's featured on 3 audio commentaries. Same thing goes with your Panic Room DVDs. When that was put out, first they put out Superbit, then they put out the one that had 4 discs in it and stuff. I don't even know if they've really re-put that out in any kind of proper high def form like that. Somebody let me know. But so I feel like I've got a mind into Fincher because I've seen a lot of behind the scenes. I've heard a lot of his wisdom and stuff on all of these things. And he is a guy who just has a vision in his head and wants to put it out on to film, be it, traditional or digital. he wants to put that out there, and as he's going to do whatever he can do to put as close to the image that was in his brain up on that film. And I think that he's done a fantastic job of that over the years. And again, he's kind of been reinventing himself to a slight degree with a couple of these things, with like, Mank, and then coming back to this and different choices and stuff like that. I'm hoping he's happy over at Netflix with whatever they're doing. I don't know why Mindhunter is still kind of in limbo there and everything, but there you go. So with this movie, like I said, knowing it's just Fincher movie and Michael Fassbender's in it, like, you've already kind of got me on the line here and everything. So I don't know anything about it, and I'm going to go into a little bit of the plot, but ultimately, because that was one of the things when I was watching this initially, I was like, okay, not knowing anything going into it and where things go, part of me thought, how am I going to review this movie if I can't kind of spoil what's going on? And thankfully, throughout the entire movie, as the movie goes and gets to its conclusion here and everything, I realized, guess what? You can't necessarily spoil this thing per se, because it's not that type of movie. I would say if it's closer to anything, it's closer to a procedural, but it's not a procedural in any way, shape, or form. So Michael Fassbender's character is this assassin. He's out in France, and we don't know who exactly he's going after here or anything, but he's perched up. He's got this room that is right across the view from where he's going to shoot and everything. And again, that's where I say there's a lot of the Rear Window stuff that comes into place, because he's watching, we're going back and forth, and it's not nearly as wild and advanced and stuff as Rear Window is, but you watch it and you watch how Fincher frames these things, and you can't not say that he's like rolling on Rear Window pretty hardcore there. But he's doing everything. So you're seeing this guy. He's very patient. He's very meticulous on stuff. He is waiting out days and days for someone to show up to this place. I mean, it's called The Killer, so he's going to be killing somebody. But he talks to us about like his mantra and everything. He goes through and gives us the kind of like, hey, listen, kind of, you don't get involved. I don't have them all written down, but it's like, you don't get involved. You don't take anything personally. You stick to the plan. You don't deviate. You just like, he is a man of just kind of very set rules. And they really set up this whole thing of just like, hey, I'm kind of the man. This is what I do. It takes a long time to do these things, and people are looking at him going, are you going to assassinate this guy? Are we going to get this done? When are we working? What are we doing here? And he is just like, he's like, listen, it's going to get done when it gets done, blah, blah, blah. And you're waiting, and you're like, this guy has laid himself out to be, and you believe it. You believe it because you've seen the actions. You've seen what this he's doing yoga, for heaven's sake. Yoga for an assassin right in the middle of his work day and everything. So when all of this goes through, he's like, I mean, he's napping, he's sleeping and all this stuff. He finally wakes up. We finally get to a point where this guy is there. Whoever this man is that he needs to assassinate, we're there. And wouldn't you know it, he's in with a lady of the night. She's walking around and stuff, and he's like, and he's calm, he's secure. He's just like, he's one of these guys who's just like, nope, slow it down, take it easy. Take every precaution. Everything comes into play. The wind's shaving this way. You got to think like this and blah, blah, blah. It's all this stuff. And he's ready to make this shot. And then the hooker gets in the way. Hooker jumps in the way. She gets shot, and all hell breaks loose, right? So before he gets down, he quietly wraps all of his stuff up. He gets everything together, makes this escape and stuff. And one of the cool things about this is, first of all, ladies, I don't know if you know this, but every guy out here has had this fantasy of some sort. What if I was some sort of contract killer or something like that? We've all had this thought that we would be, every dude thinks he's the Michael Fassbender character, right? Like, if I was doing this, I would have all these things. I would take all these precautions. I would do this. I would have a cool head. Every dude is watching this going like, I could do that. I could do that. I could be that killer. But the fun part, so to speak, is him giving us this big giant spiel about how he is as meticulous as he is. He is as just on top of everything, and then kills this woman. everything just goes to hell really fast. He tidies up all of his stuff, finally leaves, gets away from the cops and everything, and does so in a really great manner. Like, he tells you why he does all the things that he does, how he dresses, what, like, he's like, I need to go down here. We're still somewhat surveilled, in the 21st century here. Cameras are coming at us. So you got to make sure that, you're looking normal, that you're staying away from things, that you're not running away from things. And so, like, he makes his getaway on a scooter, like an electric scooter. It's kind of nuts. And he almost doesn't make it, which is really fun too. So let me get into this then as well. What Fincher then uses. Oh, by the way, a score by Atticus Ross and what's his nut there from 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor. Wow, the more popular one, the more people know, is the one that I forgot. So Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross do the score, as they've been doing for a lot of Fincher films as of late here. Good stuff from them. Not as like memorable and everything as like your Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, or especially your Social Network. That was another one. Again, that was you win an Oscar for it for a darn reason. Good stuff. But that score and the sound design and everything in this show is fantastic. Just how we use bass and everything to really drive that tension to 11. There's so much subsonic bass going on in this thing, to where like they build it up to where you have that same kind of tension that the killer has, and you're just going like, and then it releases and stuff. Really fantastic sound design with this. And since we're talking about sound and all that other stuff, Morrissey. This guy listens to a lot of Morrissey and the Smiths and stuff like that. And I don't know why, but it's hilarious to me. I enjoy it. I was not a Smiths guy until like a couple of years ago. And then I was just like, all right, let's see what everybody's, digging on here. And I'm like, why does everybody like this? And I've had a couple of those over time. And that was one that I was like, okay, let's see whatever. And then I listened to The Queen is Dead, and I'm like, oh, I get it. I absolutely get it now. So that was fun. And, I won't tell you what Morrissey song that we end with here and everything, but it's great. It's great. When the credits roll, I was like, all right, this is super sweet. But so basically, after he's gone and assassinated this the wrong person, he's assassinated the wrong guy. This guy that he's supposed to get is not got. And of course, as you might imagine, the people that he hired are none too pleased with the outcome of this. So he's got to double back around and make sure all of his affairs are in order. So then this is when we start the globe hopping, because we go everywhere. We're in France here, and then we go to the Dominican Republic. I think we go to the States at one point? There's like 4 or 5 different spots that we end up kind of going to, globe trotting all over the place, which I'm sure is fun for the cast and crew there. It's like, hey, listen to this, we're going to this other fancy location. But so he gets jumping around, and he goes back to the Dominican Republic, where it is kind of like his safe house here and everything. That's where like his lady and stuff are. And whoops-a-doodle, they got to her. They didn't kill her, but she's pretty jacked up here and everything. So then he is going on a mission then to just kind of go and clean up all of this stuff, so then essentially he can live and try to, beat the rap, as it were, for not actually, properly assassinating this person. So a lot of the movie is just kind of Fassbender's reaction to the things around him, his ability for preparedness and being able to get through things. I thought perhaps he might be a little bit more haphazard, or a little bit more, fumbly or something. Maybe make it a tiny bit more humorous, and perhaps they could have gone down that route. There's a little bit of dark humor in there. And again, if you know more of Fincher and listen to those Fincher commentaries, the man got dark sense of humor on him. He just does. He one of those dudes. And there are jokes in this thing where I just go, that writer didn't write that. That was put in there by David Fincher. I can't point them out to you right off the top of my head, but there were a couple times in this where I was just like, that's some Fincher nonsense right there. But it's good. It's good stuff. I like it. So again, let's talk about, and so I don't want to go in too much of like where he goes or how he goes, because that's kind of the more interesting stuff. What I do want to kind of emphasize with this movie and everything is what this movie is not. Again, I went in with zero expectations outside of the names that I knew that were involved in it. So I didn't have any of these to live up to. But with a name like The Killer, one might suspect. And by the way he kind of looks on the poster for The Killer kind of looks like Brad Pitt's character in the what was that train flick that he was in with Kick-Ass? I forget. But that flick. Like he looks a lot like that character. So you might think that this might be one of those kind of over-the-top action-y movies and stuff like that. And it's not. It's not really that. It's more of just kind of this this look at this guy. Like I said, there are a couple of there's one really big fight scene with a guy who is kind of a stunt guy who's been in a lot of things, from everything from like Lord of the Rings on up, man. There's a big fight scene with him that's really, really good. Kind of goes on. It's not the They Live length of fight or anything like that. It's not quite that long, but it is a good, solid action fight that lets you know that David Fincher he can direct some action if he needs to. He's not just the moody guy who does weird things all the time. No. That's a man that can direct a little action scene if he needs to. I feel like we probably could have used maybe one more really good action scene overall. I feel like it probably had just a little bit less of that. Could have used a little bit more. That's all I'm saying. But overall, it was a good movie, but it's not a movie that a lot of people are going to be running to and going like, wow, this was an amazing experience. This is a Fincher film. It's a slow 2-hour burn. With not a ton of characters. You don't know a whole bunch about all of the things that are surrounding these characters. A lot of the problems that they're, why they're doing what they're doing. Like I said, as far as like characters go, like Michael Fassbender's character is called the Killer. Tilda Swinton's character is called the Expert. Charles Parnell, the lawyer. So the client. These aren't really. No one's thinking about this stuff. No one's writing out a deep, whatever. We are just kind of dealing with this sort of bare bones sort of thing. So a lot of stuff is left open to kind of your own thoughts as to, what's kind of going down here and everything. And again, it's not that wild and crazy action flick that you're looking for. But if you are looking for something that's a little bit different and a little bit odd, this is one of those that is definitely worth that. One of the funniest kind of, was it a chase per se? I can't quite remember. But there is a scene that, like in any other film, when he's getting away on this motorcycle, would just be like vrooming all over the place. And there are a couple of cool motorcycle shots, though, that are like, while not on like, some sort of, crotch rocket or something like that, there are a couple of shots where you're just like, ooh, that's pretty sweet camera work for this sort of thing. But it's quiet. That's what's great. We watched The Dark Knight where they get the bat monopod thing that's like flying through the streets there and everything. Just all that great, just like jet noise and everything. And then this is just like a little, it's like, and that's why I say that it's a little bit like a realistic John Wick. Because John Wick, those movies are fun. Those movies are crazy and wild and over the top and everything. But those movies are pretty intellectually shallow, if we're honest. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this movie is like intellectually, like a genius or anything. But it's not as dumb as all of that. It's just not. It's not one of those films. So if that's what you're expecting going into this, curb them expectations, but good here and everything. I liked it. I liked it overall. I don't think this is going to be for everyone because it's slow, it's meticulous. You don't know too awful much about the people or what's kind of going on there. I don't want to, but I can't go so far as to say it's like a hangout movie or anything to where you're just like, oh, I just love being with these characters, because he is a bit of a dick. Like, he's not like, he is one of those things. And that's what you also kind of think when you're watching it as well, is that like, oh, are we going to get this thing to where like perhaps he is growing. Maybe he doesn't want to be a hitman anymore because he does talk about, kind of like not making things personal, take yourself out of the game and stuff. And then there are people who do have sympathetic things that come up and, sympathetic cases for him and everything. And you think that, maybe he might change, maybe he might not. But this isn't necessarily about that movie. Maybe I wish it was in a sense, but I don't want it to, I don't know. Like, again, I don't want to be one of those people that goes and says, I believe that the movie should do this, because frankly, when you walk down that road, you're looking to just be disappointed every single time, just almost bar none. So anyways, I don't know what too awful much else I can say. Like I said, with just myself here, it's a little bit tough to talk on all these things. Oh, Tilda Swinton. Let's talk about Tilda Swinton for a second. She plays... What was the name of the character? Again, there are no real actual character names in this. She was the expert. She's in it for a hot second, but like, man, whenever Tilda Swinton shows up and stuff, you're always like, I'm always just excited. I'm always happy she's there. She's always doing something strange and odd and weird and bizarre. And like, while her haircut is very Tilda Swinton in this, she's not overly bizarre and crazy and weird. It's nice. She's just a lady that's up in a restaurant. She's drinking whiskey and whatnot, and just trying to be like, please, Mr. Fassbender, don't be killing me now. I don't want none of that. I don't need none of this heat. But she's really great. As well as Carrie O'Malley, who plays like a Dolores' secretary in this. That's Charles Parnell's secretary. She's really good. Bigger role than I thought she was going to get. Sala Baker is the guy who plays the Brute, which is again another one of these things where I love these characters, and it's just like, hey, it's just a dude. There's a bodyguard and one is another character. But this dude, he's the dude who did the big giant fight scene and everything. Definitely highly worth recommending on that fight scene there and everything. What else? Yeah, good cinematography work. Nothing too wild and crazy. It's interesting. I do want to talk with Sean when he gets back, because he did mention a couple things. There's like, I felt David very Finchery when watching a lot of the camera moves and stuff. I want to know specifically what he's talking about, because I don't know that like it all screamed Fincher to me per se. Maybe certain elements of it, but I wouldn't say that most of it really kind of screamed that, but there you go. All right, before I get to my final review, I was almost about to say and sorry, the show is short. It's going to be a little bit shorter with this, but I certainly have to find out how this latest Fincher flick relates back 1-to-1 with Sylvester Stallone, and would you know it, I have a prepared statement. Hey there, Mr. Stallone, it's me, Jessica. Oh wait, I'm sorry. It's me, Adam. Yeah, this week has been a wild one, Mr. Stallone. At first, we were reviewing this movie. Then we changed it to Echo because, hey, it's a new Marvel show. People want to know what the boys of HMP think about it. So we were like, okay, let's review Echo. Then, wouldn't you know it, Sean's got to go on vacay. Then Bruce gets COVID. In the year of our Lord 2024, and this man got COVID. I swear, I saw it. Listen, people. This show... let's start it. People listen to this show to find out what we think, but no one ever asks what you think about these movies and what you think about how you connect 1-to-1 with them, Mr. Stallone. You'd think after 8 years, someone would have mentioned something to you. You know what I think, Mr. Stallone? I think the people in your life might not have your best interests at heart. I mean, who wouldn't want to know that the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon is so over, so 20th century, and a far better barometer has been set as the new standard? I mean, it took a while, but Kevin Bacon did finally come around to the idea of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. I guess my real question here is, when are you going to come around, Mr. Stallone? Monique Ganderton plays the dominatrix in David Fincher's The Killer. I've never really understood the allure of the dominatrix. I like a strong woman. Some might say it's too strong of a woman, but having someone demean you doesn't make much sense to me. I already hate myself plenty. Now, from what I understand, it's more of a power move, you know? These big muckety mucks, they boss people around all day. They got all this power. So then they pay some lady to muss them up a little bit and give them a little taste of the old boot. I'm just looking for a lady who doesn't hate me, you know? Is that too much to ask? Apparently so, I guess. I don't know. Monique Ganderton hails from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and is an actor in David Fincher's The Killer, despite her normally being a stunt woman. That's right, your girl's got 90 credits, and boy, does it read like this lady's been quite busy. We've got The Recruit, iRobot, Battlestar Galactica in a lot of forms. We got the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies, Underworld Evolution, X-Men Last Stand as Rebecca Romaine's stunt double. The Wicker Man standing in for Lily Sobieski. Whatever happened to her, by the way? Your girl also worked on Snyder's Watchmen, Iron Man 3, Gareth Edwards' Godzilla from 2014, the Hunger Games movies, Civil War, Fate of the Furious, both of the last Avengers movie, Captain Marvel. She doubled for Charlize Theron in Atomic Blonde. The list goes on. And are we seeing a theme here? That's right, Monique Ganderton is a hot stunt lady. She also stunted for another gorgeous woman who refuses to return my calls when she doubled for Karen Gillan in Guardians of the Galaxy, which also stars you, the man who silently refuses her advances, Sylvester Stallone. Let me tell you something, Mr. Stallone. We thank our lucky stars over here at HMP that Mr. James Gunn had the wherewithal, the gall, to cast you in a Marvel movie, because it has been an amazing get out of jail card for us for many years now. So thank you. And being on that Las Vegas show on NBC, that show's been off the air for years, but it's saved us so many times. Good times. So there you have it, HMPers. Your Stallone connection is hot stunt lady extraordinaire, Monique Ganderton, and was written by little old me. Next week will be better, Mr. Stallone. I've read what Sean did already, and it's good, so don't worry. Come back next week, and won't you, Mr. Stallone? Won't you? Your buddy, Adam the Jerkbag from the internet. I didn't really sign this properly, so I need to work on that. All right, let's get down to it on this short solo episode of HMP. Again, I want to thank all of you guys. If you made it all the way through here and you are just okay with my sultry voice saying things over and over and giving little to no break in any of it whatsoever, thank you. God bless you. God bless your face. We love you so much. For me, on the patented Robin rating system, I think I would have to put David Fincher's The Killer, not to be confused with, John Woo's The Killer or what's his face, Kubrick's The Killers, or is that Hawks? I don't know. Anyways, there's a lot of killers movies out there, but David Fincher's The Killer, I'm going to go Tim Drake. I enjoyed it enough for what it is. I might like it on subsequent viewings. I don't know that I'm going to have a ton of subsequent viewings, though. I don't know how much this lends itself to repeat viewings and stuff like that. So couldn't quite say in that particular area. But it's good enough for what it is. If you're a Fincher fan, I think you're going to enjoy it. But I think when I say Fincher fan, I don't necessarily mean the movies. I think I actually mean the director and the things that he does. Because like I said, this isn't quite as Finchery, for lack of a better word, as a lot of his other stuff is. But I think it's worth checking out. Worth checking out in the canon. So that's available on Netflix, and it's the only place to watch it. And since they made me get the Netflix for the whatever the hell it was a couple of weeks ago, that's how good it was. I absolutely remembered what we watched 2 weeks ago for this program. Or was it this? Or was it last week? It was last week. It was last week and the week before with what do you call it there? The pirate thing. One Piece. Boy, it's been late. Anyways, that is it, everybody. Next week, we're coming back with all 5 episodes of Echo on Disney+. I have already watched it all, and I have a very interesting some thoughts on that, and we hope that you can come back for those thoughts, and probably a little bit of talk about the future of Marvel television and movies and how all of these things interchange and coalesce and bind together to hopefully, drag them out of the slog that they might be in. Does Echo do that for us? We'll find out next week. Why don't you go check out Bruce Leslie's YouTube page there. Check out Werewolf Fighter on the internet there and everything. Links for that are in the show notes. Like I said, if you are somewhere in the Bahamas, look for the whitest man that you could possibly see. He's got to be tall and super white. That's going to be Sweet Chauncey. What you want to do is go up and just tap him on the shoulder, have him turn around, look him square in the eye and go, "Are you Sweet Chauncey from the internet?" And if he says no, he probably still is. So go ahead and just kind of keep harassing that man as best as you possibly can until he agrees with you that he is indeed Sweet Chauncey Kovacs from the internet. That's my assignment for you people in the Bahamas this week. Try to find Sean. I don't know how that works. I've never been to the Bahamas. It's got to be. It's a tight community, right? Somebody's going to tell on them real fast. That is it, everybody. Join us next week for Echo on Disney Plus for the absent Sweet Chauncey Kovacs from the internet and the absent Bruce Leslie. I'm Adam Portress. Stay super, everybody. Bye, Marty and Evie.